Hello, my name is Marcus Ruiz Evans, CEO of Yes, California. Well, you are living in historic times. The term national divorce is now popular. It has been covered by people on the left, people who are conservative, major network television, and major left wing media. Also, in addition to many social media YouTube stars covering the topic. It is now. Now, maybe you're sipping coffee at home, having breakfast, and nothing very big is seemingly to happen to you. But I would encourage you to look at the topic of national divorce and type in trending, type in Sarah Silverman, type in Congress member. You'll see that it's exploding. We're going to cover the timeline for you just to make sure that you understand that this is a fact. As we at Yes California try to make sure that we get the actual facts about these sensational issues out to you, let's go right to it. So the first thing we want to point out is that the term in July 17th, 2018 was created by us here at Yes California with the phrase, "It's time for a peaceful divorce," due to differences that can't be gotten across with each other. So we were talking about peaceful divorce July 17th, 2018. Also in December 12th, 2020, Yes California on our social media used the term national divorce. That's December 12th, 2020. These terms, 2018 comes 3 years before the use of the word now. Our using the term on December 12th, right around Christmas time in 2020, comes at least 1 year before the popularity of that term now. That's why we say recognition by the media on the origination of the terminology points exclusively to Yes California at least 3 years ago and up to only 9 to 12 months ago. So why is the topic trending now? Well, let's cover that right now so that you have the facts that you need to be able to be informed about the discussion. That is the key point here at Yes California, is we're not trying to get you to change your mind. What we want you to know is that this is a rational discussion and it is time to have it. When people are on a boat and that boat is sinking, you do not then criticize people who say, can we talk about building a boat to save ourselves and escape to freedom? When you buy a home, everybody gets insurance. Why is it wrong to talk about the future of a disintegrating 50 states when it relates to the possibility of 40 million people here? If you're a parent, if you have kids, I'd imagine that you'd want to make sure that there's a proper future for your children going into it. And if you look at America and you're not seeing collapse and a destabilizing, rapidly deteriorating situation, then you are blind. Let's be clear about that. Okay, now let's get to some more facts. In June 2021, so again, Yes California started this July 17th, 2018. We also covered it December 12th, 2020. Then you can fast forward June 2021 this year, the topic begins to show up again. There was a survey by a group called Brightline Research, and they talked about people in America who wanted to secede. There was a region called the Pacific region, made up of California, Washington, Oregon, and Hawaii and Alaska, that had 47% saying they wanted to support secession. That same Brightline research also showed about 66 or 2/3 or even the most amount of support for secession in the South. Now, that poll came out in June 2021. It was out there. People kind of paid attention to it. Then we go to July, then August. There's not a whole lot happening. So you see a blip around June, August, July, nothing. Now we fast forward to September 12th. Now things start picking up. September 12th, Sarah Silverman. I mean, this may be a negative thought or maybe a positive one. I don't know. But if people aren't getting along, like in a relationship, they break up, you know? So like, why don't we just finally just realize that these states aren't working? Like divide up into 3 or 2 countries. Like the conservatives can be USA Part 1 because they love being number 1 and it means something to them. And I'd love to have that be theirs. They can be USA that one. We'll be USA the second one. We'll be allies. You'll come over here and we'll go over there. And you know, when you come to certain places, when you go to a country, you have to take a passport or you have to meet the protocols of that country. So that was September 12th by Sarah Silverman. Now, Sarah Silverman is a Disney Channel star. She was not condemned by the Disney Channel. So that's one of the top 5 corporations in the who controls the media, having one of their main stars talk about secession and divorce, a national divorce. There's no backlash from the left against her at all. What happens between September 12th and the 18th is that conservatives go to her social media page and start to say, I'm disgusted by you and I completely agree. So it's I'm disgusted, I can't stand you, and I completely agree. So you have a left-wing person who's spoken for the Democratic Party on many occasions, has gone to many events by them, is well connected. He works for the Disney Channel talking about national divorce, and then it's backed up by conservatives. So September 12th to 18th, the cauldron starts to rise up. September 18th, we have a new data point. A actual elected official proposes that his state secede from the U.S. Quotes, "Are you in favor of amending the first part of the New Hampshire Constitution by inserting Article 7? A new article to read as follows. Article 7-A, parentheses, independent nation, parentheses, New Hampshire declares itself as independent from the United States and peaceably, immediately proceeds as a sovereign nation. All other reference to the United States in this Constitution and state statutes and regulations are nullified." So he's talking about secession and nullification, last seen by South Carolina over 150 years ago. Now, what's interesting here is that this is an actual elected official. We interviewed him here. He's out of New Hampshire, and he followed the government structure to insert a bill into their government. So legally elected, followed the system, and inserted a bill for secession into his state legislature. That hasn't happened since basically 1861 with South Carolina. Now, some people will point out Texas, and that recently this year, Texas had a proposal for leaving America, but that was people who were part of the political party using the political party apparatus in order to insert that idea into the political party nomination process in hopes of getting it into law. That wasn't an actual legal structure. That was the party trying to push this. This is an actual politician in the government pushing it. So this New Hampshire thing is more significant than the Texas thing because it comes at this timeline of rapidly expanding discussion and anticipation for a full-blown divorce. It also is because it's the last time that a state had politicians who actually walked it through the proper system and channels and pulled the right levers and cogs to make it happen. And that wasn't until 1861. So June 2021, Brightline survey. July, nothing. August, nothing. September 12th, 3 months after that survey. Let's secede, September 12th. And the following week, conservatives backing her up. September 18th, a legislator proposes secession for the first time as never before seen since the Civil War. Then we go to September 30th. The University of Virginia Sabato Center proposes a new poll showing that 41% of Biden voters and 52 or more than half of all Trump voters want to secede. So you had the poll in June, then you had a bunch of discussion, then you had another poll. Now, right after this poll, October 1st, the Atlantic Magazine. The Atlantic Magazine is a top policy discussion place here in the United States, but also across the Atlantic. So it's called the Atlantic Magazine. It's literally read in the capitals of all the European countries and America and Canada and any English-speaking people. It's as high level as it gets. The reason that I'm postulating that or packaging that way is that the Atlantic packaged this article, "The Conservatives Dreading and Preparing for Civil War." They talked about how there were conservatives who were interested in ripping America apart into separate countries. This is the Atlantic Magazine. It is the most serious policy discussion place anywhere in America. And they were talking about secession right after the second poll coming out showing major support for secession. Then we go to October 4th. Days later, Fox News has Ben Dominic come on and talk about national divorce. So now you're getting national news coverage. That hadn't happened before. You had a poll, then you had a comedian on social media, then you had another poll, and then you had a politician propose something, and now here's the first blip on national news coverage talking about this. Then we go to October 11th, again, only a week later, first time a sitting member of Congress since 1861. Should America have a national divorce and we separate from each other? Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is an official, tweeted this on social media. I think there's a clear majority for it, and it has 90,000 people who have voted for it. That poll will be up soon. So then we go also to October 11th, the same day that Marjorie Taylor Greene came out with that, with articles across America. At least there's one article calling this is a stupid idea, and it was printed in one article, one news source, and then they reprinted it in 20 to 30 across America so that it would appear to be local news and picked up and appear to be a local opinion in 20 states. So to recap, July 17th, 2018, we at Yes California talk about political divorce. December 12th, 2020, we say literally the phrase national divorce. You fast forward to June 2021, you have the Brightline survey showing support for secession. July, nothing. August, nothing. Then we go to September 12th. Sarah Silverman picks up the topic. September 12th and the following week, conservatives back up Silverman. September 18th, only a week later, a legislator proposes for secession through the government system for the first time since the Civil War, 1861. Then we go to a second poll, September 30th, 3 months after the first one, showing support for secession is still there. A day later, the top policy magazine in America talks about the probability of secession. 3 days later, major network news picks up this topic. And a week after that, another historic event happens that we haven't seen since South Carolina. A sitting member of Congress talks about secession, Marjorie Taylor Greene. That same day, the media goes wild talking about how the topic of national divorce is stupid. The last major discussion about secession in any capacity was for California, and it was in November 2020, right before the election. Shepard Smith on major network television talked about the idea that California may secede or divorce itself from America if Trump won. Now, that went away. Trump lost. From November 2020 to June 2021, or about 8 months ago, the topic is now bounding again. And in fact, what we're seeing here in 2021 is the popularity of the idea that happened in 2018. Yes, California lost a lot of publicity, but by 2018, we still had international coverage. We could still call New York Times reporters, Washington Post reporters, the producers for the Tucker Carlson show, and everybody would pick up. So when we were talking about national divorce at that time, everybody saw it. It was widely covered, and Newsweek even picked up the article itself. Now it's 3 years later, and the topic is back in vogue. How did that happen? It's also 8 months after Joe Biden was elected, when the topic of Cal Exit was last seen, and now secession is popular. Now, obviously, the terms for what's going on in America here in California are slightly different, of course, but the methodology is the same. Kalinske on his show literally used the phrase, yes, it's okay for there to be a vote, and I would support it, and irreconcilable differences when speaking about this topic of secession that's popular right now. We invented irreconcilable differences and divorce and incepted it into a political conversation. That was partly why we got the media in 2018. Nobody had ever seen somebody do that. Take a domestic common term and insert it into a national dialogue for a high-level debate. We had done that. That's why we got news coverage. It was popular. It was interesting. Now we see people using the exact same terminology, and it's years later. And a year after, basically 8 months, maybe close to a year, everybody said Cal Exit was doomed. Well, here's secession back in popularity. You know what? Yes, California, we were quite big in 2017. We had about 32% showing support for secession and 47.5% saying they were not opposed or for secession. That was almost half. That came from two different reputable surveys, Reuters and Stanford, in February at that same time. We got trashed in the news at Yes California, and we lost a lot of members. About half dropped from 220 to 160,000, about 140, and we grew back up to 160,000. But while we talked to the many people who left, one of the things that we never heard from anybody was that they thought it was a bad idea. You know, we hemorrhaged about 90,000 people in 3 months, and none of them were saying, I stopped believing it's a bad idea. They just said, oh my God, something horrible is attached to you, and I can't be part of that myself. So 47.5 were open to discussing secession in California, according to two surveys, February 2017, 4 years ago. When we hemorrhaged people, all of them said, I'm leaving because of your organization, not because of the idea. Now we see, with the Brightline survey, 47% again in the West supporting secession, in a poll where California is about 3/4. So that Brightline poll in June 2021 said Pacific states. It included California, Oregon, Washington, Hawaii, and Alaska. 14 million people to 40 million. So in the Pacific region, there's 40 million for us and then 14 million for everybody else. We're close to about 3/4 of the population of that poll that showed 47% liberals in the West willing to secede. in a poll dominated by California, which almost matches the exact same percentage that we saw February 2017 at 47% supporting secession. We have always said here in CalX that the idea isn't going away. The time has come. America's failed. It's not coming back together. We were called crazy for that. Clearly, everybody sees it now. And then we also said people never stop believing in secession. And here's a poll in June 2021 by Brightline that has eerily similar accounting to the poll we last saw in February 2017 for secession support here in California. CalExit is coming. We told you America was going down. We told you it was over. We've been saying this since Obama. And we've been saying California is going to have to slip away in order to save itself. We also said in 2017 that Californians, half of them support secession, and that's never going to go away. And we continue to see support for that. These are facts and data that we love providing you here at Yes California, because literally the media just won't do their job anymore.